لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي بعد. Today we continue with looking at Surah 11, Surah Hud. We reached to Ayah 44 in our last session, so inshallah we'll continue from Ayah 45. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ونادى نوح ربه فقال رب إن ابني من أهلي وإن وعدك الحق وأنت أحكم الحاكمين. قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلي إنه عمل غير صالح فلا تسألني ما ليس لك به علم إني أعظك أن تكون من الجاهلين. قال رب إني أعوذ بك أن أسألك ما ليس لي به علم وإلا تغفر لي وترحمني أكن من الخاسرين. Translation reads, And Noah called upon his Lord and said, O my Lord, verily my son is of my family, and certainly your promise is true, and you are the most just of all judges. He said, Oh no, surely he is not of your family. Verily his work is unrighteous. So ask not of me of that which you have no knowledge. I admonish you lest you should be of the ignorant. Noah said, O my Lord, I seek refuge with you from asking you that of which I have no knowledge. And unless you forgive me and have mercy on me, I will indeed be of the losers. You see then that the discussion continues with the story of Noah alayhi salatu wasalam, as we were covering in this session, as we were covering the story of Noah alayhi salatu wasalam. And here in this particular ayah, you know that in the last session we covered the point that Noah alayhi salatu wasalam was having discussion with his son, trying to encourage him to join him, and he didn't, and so he was eventually drowned in the flood. And so this ayah begins with the Noah's reaction to his son being drowned in the flood. Now it is possible that Noah alayhi salatu wasalam did not know that his son was an actual disbeliever. It's possible that he didn't know this. I mean, one could say that he asked the question because he didn't know this. Or maybe his son, was just a munafiq, which is a hypocrite. So he would act one way or another, and then the other son. This was obscured to know. It was possible that so he pretended one way with the family, and then when he's with the kafirs, he with them like munafiq, he got kufr inside and he covers iman outside, but he covers kufr inside. So it's a possibility, right? The Quran or the Hadith does not give any clarity as to actually what Noah alayhi salatu wasalam knew in relation to his son. Right? It's just that his son resisted him and he was drowned. Noah alayhi salam also was under the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would save his whole family, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that he would save his family, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in ayah 40 before, we covered it before. Allah says, قُلْ نَحْمِلْ فِيهَا مِنْ كُلٍّ Jain Nine, and take or load into the ship a pair two of every kind of animal. وَأَهْلَكَ, and also your family. إِلَّا مَنْ سَبَكَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقَوْلُ, except those who the word has spoken about them before. وَمَنْ آمَنَ, and those also take those who believe. So from this, Nuh alayhi salam is under the impression that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save his family, or is as though he did not realize that his son was among the exceptions in his family, because Allah did make an exception. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَهْلَكَ, and your family. Illa. Illa is a particle of exception. You mention something and then you exclude something from that one. So you use illa. Yes. But we say la ilaha. There is no ilah. None. None ilah except illa.
Except Allah.
So now we make the exception there. Only Allah is the ilah. Alright? So that illah is an exception. So Allah says, yes, take your family except those who the word has been mentioned about before, who the decree has made about them. Right? So this point probably slipped Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam. So he didn't understand that, when he saw his son drown, he should come, okay, so he's the one that Allah was taking the exception from. But he is definitely the exception. But Nuh alayhi salam didn't seem to realize that exception was in relation to them. So he was Noah's son. Yeah, Allah says he will save your family, but his son, that son, was not included in that one, among those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would save. He was not included because he was not up for them. Right? So as the brother understood that, and it was just his familial ties to his son, his fatherly love for his son, or if he didn't know at all, and he just responded as out of fatherly love. So Allah knows best what's with the situation.
Didn't Allah say, we talked a couple of weeks ago that Allah said that those who believe already believe. So his son had been a believer, he wouldn't have came to his father with this.
Right, the ayah wasn't clear. Allah said, take your family. His family and those who believe.
Yeah, but I'm speaking
about,
where we was talking about a couple of weeks ago, you said that he said those who believe already believe. When Noah was getting frustrated after preaching.
Allah said that, that there's no one that's going to believe from among you. But no, well, he knew that his son was among the disbelievers or not. The ayah doesn't make it clear.
But what I'm saying was his son's actions when he said
I didn't want to step in, but you keep insisting.
Let's finish this point and we'll come back. We'll come back to that. Right? We'll come back to that. Right? He was not included in Allah's promise when it's to save the family and the believers. Allah gave a promise, save Noah and the believers. Right? He was not among that because he was not of them. Whether know that, understood that, or knew that, as I said, that point is not absolutely clear, but that was the reality based on what I was saying. He was not among that. So he was included in the exception. He was the exception. Those who the decree already been mentioned concerning, as Allah mentioned before in ayah 37, the same surah, ayah 37, Allah says, وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِنَّهُمْ مُغْرَقُونَ. Do not address me concerning those evildoers. They all will be drowned. All right? So that was the decree, that all the evildoers, all those who disbelieve and knew other disbelievers and so on, they all would be drowned. Right? That was the word that went out. His son was included in that group. That he would be among those who would be drowned. Right? That's why when Noah was putting the people in his family, and that's why he went off by himself. Right? Because he was included in the other group that's going to be drowned. So when Noah was putting his people, his family and all the people, the believers and stuff, in the ark, he went off by himself. Allah said, he was off by himself. He went off by himself. So, why? Because he was not part of this group. So he went off by himself. So it's when Noah, when Allah said, when the boat about to take off, and the boat is taking off, sailing up, he saw his son then, up on this tree. Then is when he, my son is not with me. He called me and said, come. Of course, he said, you go ahead, I'm going to save myself. Right? And Noah, thinking that's when they came. So that was the situation with him. So Noah, given that understanding that he was a Spartan, Noah's thinking, he's my family, how come he's not, he got drowned? Right? How come he's drowned? And Allah gave a promise that he would save the family. And that's where he says, and your promise is true. Right? But he's my son. So what? Well, okay. And the ahkam al-hakmi, are you the most of just? You're the most of all those who are just. You're the best judge. So this is no reason than this question before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you make this law, that's what it is. وَنَادَى نُوحٌ رَبَّهُ, and Noah called out to his Lord, saying, oh my Lord, he's my son. Right? So this is raising before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah's response to Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam to this dua, it was very firm and corrective. Very firm and corrective. Allah says, قال يا نوح إنه ليس من أهلك. Allah replied to him, oh no, he is certainly not part of your family. He is not of your family. إنه عمل غير صالح. Verily, indeed, he's an unrighteous person. He's a person of unrighteous conduct. His actions are not like your actions. He's not of you. And one of the recitations they say, إِنَّهُ عَمَلَ عَمَلًا غَيْرَ صَالِحٍ. That's one of the recitations that you have. He does evil deeds. All right. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right away admonish Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah right away admonishes Nuh. فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ. That's an admonishment from Allah to Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. He admonishes Nuh for asking a question. Right? إِنِّي أَعِذُكَ, and I admonish or advise you so that you might not become of those who are ignorant. Right? So we see that Allah's response to Noah was very stern. His response to Noah's dua was stern. Right? Because Noah alayhi salam allowed his familial ties to cloud his judgment. Right? He allowed his familial ties to cloud his judgment, to ask Allah that. Because even if he was not aware that his son was a disbeliever, even if he wasn't aware of this, right, there was enough evidence, right, to demonstrate and to answer that question that he didn't need to ask Allah. There was enough evidence to satisfy him on that. So one has to think it was only that father thing that drove him, not because he wanted to disobey Allah, but it's just that father thing that drove him because there was enough evidence to satisfy that it was not a question to be raised for him before Allah SWT. Because no acknowledge Allah is the most just. So Allah will not be unjust. So Allah could not be unjust to his son. Right? Allah will be just. Right?
So you're saying that
just let us finish and then hold your questions, please, so that we could, finish this and then we can answer the questions. So, no, acknowledge that Allah is unjust. And ahkum al-hakimin, Allah says. And Allah says, you are the most just of those who show justice. So you're the most of all judges. The just of most, the most just of all judges. So Allah SWT so not acknowledges this. One. Two, his son abandoned the family. His son abandoned the family. He's getting ready to get everybody together, like we can go, we can get on this boat, now we gotta go, and this and that, because this is it. He abandons the family and go off. Right? That's the second point. Third thing is, he was disobedient to his father. Even though his father is talking to him and calling him, he's rejecting his father, what his father is saying. He's disobedient. He's not an obedient child. If he was obedient at that time, he would say, okay, let me, and he would come and know what to serve him, But at that point, still he's rejecting his father. So he's disobedient to his child, to his father. And thirdly, he chose to join the other side over Noah. He chose to be with those people who stayed outside than to stay that come inside. So all this is enough, evidences to make it clear to know that look, this boy is on. Right? It's clear enough evidence to so it was boiled down there that it was just his familiar ties, his family, and on top of that, because Allah says He will save only those who believe. Allah says, "Woman, those who believe." So if he was not saved, obviously, that is the most obvious thing, but that means that he was not among the believers. All right. So Noah's calling on Allah, it was not out of ignorance or arrogance. All right, because only the ignorant or arrogant one questions Allah in that manner or challenges Allah's decree. Only the ignorant or the arrogant, or one who's both. The one who, and Noah alayhi salatu wasalam was neither one of the two. Noah alayhi salatu wasalam was the messenger of Allah. He was a prophet and messenger of Allah, so therefore he was neither ignorant nor was he arrogant. Right? He was neither one of the two. All right? So we know that this was not his case. So it was only, we can only understand by then that it was his fatherly relationship. He watched his son drunk in front of his eyes, right before his eyes. Right? Right before his eyes, his son drunk. That was a painful thing. To watch your son, die like that in front of you. That's a painful thing. And in that, he called out. But even as the prophet messenger, he should have restrained himself. That's why Allah chastised him on it. Because he should have restrained himself. And this is the case that I think, because the true standard of faith, an affinity in faith, is not based on kinship. Right? It's not based on kinship. It's not based on language. It's not based on color. It's not based on geography. It's not based on nationality. It's not based on any of these things. It's based only on Iman. Faith is based on heart connection. Right? The heart's connected to Allah. That's it. Right? The hearts that connect to Allah is connected to each other. That's it. That's the connection. There's a heart connection, right? None of these stuff, they are incidentals. They are not the basis of the connection. The connection is connected. The hearts that are connected to Allah are the hearts that are connected together. Allah says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Right? إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Right? And Surah Hujurat, Surah 49. Right? Ayah 10. Allah made it very clear that the believers are brothers. So the connection, right, is by faith, heart connection. All right, and this is Islam then lifted brotherhood above what we have today in this society. Unfortunately, Muslims have dropped back into that. Nationally, this one is Pakistan, this one is Indian, this one is this one and that one and that and the other. You know, we go to all that kind of stuff. You know, so while Islam does not obliterate people's culture, you know, when or your cultural identity, Islam does not obliterate people's culture or cultural identity. Their cultural identity, Islam maintains people's cultural identity, right? There's only things of your culture that contradicts Islam that Islam say you need to get rid of, right? Only thing that contradicts Islam. But the things that does not contradict Islam, and that's part of your cultural identity, Islam does not obliterate it, right? So yes, you can just look up a Pakistani or Indian or Indonesian or Malaysian or whatever, you know, this is part of your cultural expression and cultural identity. Islam would not obliterate that, all right? Because that is how it is. This one is African American, this one is so and so, and that one is so. It's okay, all right? Allah made us into tribes and nations, that we might recognize and know one another, acknowledge one another. So this is okay. It's when now you start now making these things the basis of how you relate. So we relate because you know, we before you know, we like so we can relate together. You know, or this one, you know, this one is Egyptian, so they can deal with Egyptian. Or this one is Palestinian, so you can be Palestinian, or that one is Indian. Is when we start getting into those kind of stuff. And we start separating ourselves on those bases like what is happening among the Muslims today. When we start getting it, that's when we go off. We go off. Right? And that is not acceptable in Islam. Because this is important for us to understand. In the familiar ties and stuff like that does not is not part of it, right? And this is where we find that this standard was established, you know, by Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet is established. Look, the believers are the loyalty. You know, the loyalty is to, you know, to Allah and His Messenger and the believers. In that sense, you know, and so in that context, you find that because of that principle, you find that at Badr, the people who were on Uhud and Khandaq and these, it was people family fighting family. Right? Fighting family, you know, like it said that many years after, you know, Abu Bakr's son, Abdullah, he didn't become Muslim. Abdul Rahman, he didn't become Muslim. Right? And he was fighting on the side of the Quraysh. He fought the Muslims at Badr. He fought against the Muslims. Abu Bakr's son, right? Abdul Rahman. Of course, later on, he became Muslim, right? He became Muslim and he joined the Muslims. And he said that he said to Abu Bakr one time, he said, he was talking and trying to tell him, he told my father, you know, at Badr, many times you were in my sights and I could have take you down, but I would always maneuver away from you because of my father. Right? Abu Bakr says, you know, well, my son, I was particularly looking for you. I was looking for you. Brother, I was looking for you, brother. You know, so that's the relationship. Now, you know, you're on the other side. You join the Kafirs. You join the disbelievers against the believers. Class, you're my enemy. Right? And this is the standard. You know, you are the enemy because you join the disbelievers against the believers. And Surah 60, Surah 60, ayah 14. And that tells us about ayah 12, sorry, not 4. Ayah 12. Ayah 4. Ayah 4 in Surah 60. Allah says, concerning Ibrahim, He said, قَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. Indeed, there is an excellent example for you in Ibrahim and those who are with him. That is the believers who are with him. All right? إِذْ قَالُوا لِقَوْمِهِمْ, when they said to their people, إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. They said, verily we are free from you and whatever you worship besides Allah. In other words, we got nothing to do with you. We cut ourselves off from you and all that you worship besides Allah. وَكَفَرْنَا بِكُمْ, and we reject you. وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةُ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ, and there has become between us and you hostility and hatred. Right? Abadan, and forever. Hatta tu'minu bi, until you believe in Allah. Until you believe in Allah wahdahu, you believe in Allah alone. Illa qawla Ibrahim li abihi. And that was Ibrahim's, you know, that Allah says, I mean, they said, like, we have nothing to do with you. Until Ibrahim, he said, Allah did the Ibrahim, when he left, his father was arguing with him and stuff, and told the father, he was threatening, and he told the father, I believe in you, you know, I can pray for you. Ibrahim had said that to his father, right? But Allah, that's what Allah says, Illa qawla Ibrahim, li abihi Allah astaghfirun Allah lak, when he had said, I can pray for you, right? He said, I'll pray for you. When his father he had a personal discussion with his father, and his father persisted with it, you know, and he said, you know, he turned away from his father and he said, I can pray for you. And he went and things. So Ibrahim did, you know, thing, but Allah says, فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ, when it became clear to him that his father was part of him, Ibrahim took a side. He took a side from it. All right? But, you know, so the point of not having that relations is important for us to understand that. All right? For us to understand that the believers stand as one. They stand as one body together. And Surah 58, Mujadala, Ayah 22, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من عاد الله ورسوله. You will not find any people who believe in Allah in the last day making friendship, having, you know, love and friendship to those who oppose Allah and His Messenger. Even though they might be their parents, or abna'ahum, or their children, their children, أو إخوانهم, or their brothers and sisters, أو عشيرتهم, or the king's folk. You will not find them as long as they oppose Allah and His Messenger. You will not find them seeking walaya with them, love, friendship and stuff like that, because they oppose Allah and His Messenger. They fight against Allah and His Deen. They fight against Allah and His Deen. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says of such people, أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ. Such Allah has written Iman in their hearts. وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بِرُوحٍ مِّنْهِ. And He supports them with a ruh from Him. وَيُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ. And He caused them to enter into gardens تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ. Allah says such are the Hizb of Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amen. So here is very clear from this that we cannot adopt a position this way, even when Abu Talib, right, the Prophet's uncle, he raised the Prophet because his father, when the Prophet, of course, the Prophet's father died before he was born, and his grandfather, when he was dying, he entrusted the Prophet, who was a small boy at the time, to Abi Talib, because Abi Talib was the shaqiq of his father, right, Abdullah, right? They were from the same mother and father. So he had other uncles and aunts, but the Prophet, Abu Talib, Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather, entrusted him to Abu Talib, specifically because they were from the same, his father and the Prophet's father were from the same mother and father. So he felt he would have more thing for him. So he entrusted him. So he raised the Prophet, took care of the Prophet, looked after him, and treated him specially and stuff like that. So the Prophet had a very close bond and connection to his uncle. He loved his uncle. And his uncle is dying and he's there pleading and begging his uncle, please. Pleading for his uncle. His father, his uncle of Umrah, died as a kafir. Because while he was there, Abu Jahl on the other side was saying, look, if you say what he said, I'm going to tell I can spread all the word to the Quraysh that Abu Talib is a coward. He's a coward. He was afraid to die, so he joined Muhammad. He abandoned his religion and joined Muhammad because he was afraid to die. And of course, the foolish pride, his foolish pride, he died on the religion of his forefathers. This was shirk, and this pained the Prophet a lot. The Prophet was so sad. I mean, he felt. It was a question for the Prophet always. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, corrected the Prophet. No, you can't feel. Don't feel that. Don't take yourself like that. You don't guide whom you please. Guidance, that kind of guide, is not in your hands. So you can guide him. Yes, you guide to the straight path, but you can't guide your father, your uncle. That is Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't guide him because he didn't want guidance. You don't guide whom you please. And so also the Prophet used to feel very sad about his people, why they don't want to, believe. He present all kind of, he bend over backwards. The story of him, Abu Sawat. He bent over backwards to try to get these people to follow the truth. And they wouldn't, Allah said, it's like you're going to destroy yourself over these people. No, your job is just to convey the message. Don't burn yourself out over it. All right. So this is as a very important point. The other point in relation to that is that pedigree doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Right? Pedigree doesn't make any difference. So even and the Prophet made this very clear. He says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ فَاطِمَةَ if the daughter, if Fatima, bintu Muhammadin, the daughter of Muhammad. He didn't say, well, he means my daughter. Notice how he spoke. He didn't say, my daughter. He says, the daughter of Muhammad, make her just like everybody else. If she stole, لَقَطَعْتُ يَدَهَا, I would have cut her hands off. If she stole, I would have cut her hands off. If she did what that woman did, I would have cut her hands off too. It has nothing to do with relations with blood or anything. You go against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. You're against him, as long you're against Allah, He is against you. That's how it is. Has nothing to do with family, has nothing to do with blood, has nothing to do with language, has nothing to do with anything like that. Fifth is connection, it's a heart connection. Alright? And so it's important for us to understand this principle. Al-walayatu lillahi wa rasulihi wal mu'minun. That is the walaya. That's what we call al-wala wa bara. That is the walaya. It's for Allah and His Messenger and the believers. Allah said, the awliya, that's the awliya of your awliya. Your awliya is your wali, is Allah, His Prophet, and the believers. It established a different kind of relationship there. So, my believing brother is stronger to me and dearer to me because of that, because of this. Right? Because of Iman. They believe in Allah like I believe. And that's how it has to be. That is the situation. Alright? Just one note there before we move on. Just one note of caution in there. Because very often when we talk on this topic, when you talk on this topic of wala and bara and walaya, that people think that this means that you're going to be mean to a person because he's not a Muslim. They think that you're going to be mean. So if your parents or your family or your sisters and brothers, they're not Muslim, you're going to be mean to them and treat them, the kafir, this or that. No, that's not correct. Right? This is talking about deen only. That particular point is talking about deen. It's not talking about social graces. When it comes to social graces, we can put it on a different level altogether. You have to be nice to everybody. You can be nice to people. You understand? And Allah made this very, very clear. Right? In the same surah 60. Right? In surah 60, Mumtahina is 60, right? Mumtahina, I think 60. Right? Ayah 8, Allah subhanahu says, لا ينهاكم الله أن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah does not forbid you from dealing kindly and fairly and justly with those who have not fought you concerning your deen, nor drove you out from your homes. These people, Allah does not stop you from being kind and just for them, because inna Allah yuhibbul muqsinin. Allah loves muqsitin. Allah loves those who are fair and just. So we should deal fairly and justly and kindly, and that's with everybody. Right? But people who don't fight you, people don't oppose you, people who don't fight you in deen and stuff and become your physical opponents, then something else that you got to treat them as physical opponents. Indeed, they're fighting, you got to treat them as opponents. They're your enemy, they're your enemy. Your enemy is not your friend. And you can't mistake your enemy for your friend, otherwise you're in trouble. Right? That's why it's important for you to know your enemy. That's right. Because if you mistake your enemy for your friend, you get in trouble. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, He says, concerning the shaitan, He says, Huwal adu. He is the enemy. فَاتَّخِذْهُ عَدُوًا. So always take him as an enemy. Right? Always take him as an enemy. Your enemy is your enemy. Enemy never have your interests at heart, even if he pretends to be nice to you. Even if he pretends to be nice to you. He's your enemy, and your enemy never have your interests at heart. We should always keep this in mind, right? There's an Arabic saying, right? A bite of poetry in Arabic. It says, إذا رأيت نيوب الليث بارزة فلا تظنن أن الليث يبتسم. Right? Layth is one of the names for lion. Like Asad, like one of the names for lion, has many names in Arabic language. One is Layth. The poetry says, you know, if you see the lion baring his teeth, don't think that he's smiling with you. Don't think he's smiling with you, right? So you know he's baring his teeth, so you want to hug him up. It's something we should keep in mind. Your enemy is your enemy, all right? So that is straight. But the person who does not battle you, he's not out there fighting you, he's not battling you, then you should be nice to people. This is why this whole thing about people going and this bombing thing kind of thing, you know. Oh, yeah. You're going to bomb a boss, so you're going to talk what you're doing. You know, that's criminal. Yeah. It's straight up criminal. You can go to the marketplace and block people up. That's criminal. These things are criminal. You're not allowed to do that. These people didn't do nothing. These people are going about their business. Right? These people are going about your business. Even in war, you're not allowed to destroy people's crops. In war, you're not allowed to go at the people's churches and monasteries and people who, you know, you're not allowed to go and kill women and discriminate, kill women and children and old people and stuff like that. You are only allowed to kill combatants. In war, that is like the etiquettes of war in Islam. The etiquettes of war in Islam, you are only allowed to kill combatants, the people who fight you. Fight those, the eye is very clear. Fight those who fight you. Yes. So, you know, so the people doing business in the marketplace and stuff, they ain't doing nothing. They're doing their business, trying to make a living. So you're going to blowing them up. What you doing? That's a criminal act. That's a criminal act. Right? That has nothing to do with Islam. Has nothing to do with religion. That is just pure criminalism. Right? That's what that is. Has nothing to do with Islam. Has nothing to do with religion, period. You understand? People that do not cause you harm and do not oppose you, you have to deal with them in a just and kind manner. That is the Islamic principle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it very clear. Inna Allah yuhibbul muqsitin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those people who deal justly and fairly with people. So the principle of fighting or, you know, is only related to combatants. People who actually fight you. Alright? So I just want to, you know, make this point clear that when we say that talk about wala and bara, we're not talking about that because, you know, these people are not Muslims, yeah, or these people are not believers, that you're going to curse them out and beat them down and deal with them badly and this and that. No. No. That's not Islamic principle. The principle is that you be nice to everybody. They're not fighting you, not do business with them, you can deal with them and everything. Be nice to them. Be kind to them. And if your neighbor, you give them more rights over you as your neighbor. He might not be Muslim, he might be Christian, he might be Jew, he might be whatever he is, but your neighbor got rights over you. You don't have to be the one who follow your religion. He got rights over you. You know, and you got to take care of his rights. He has rights over you. You know, one of the companions, I don't remember, it's one of the companions reported, he says that the Prophet one day was talking so much about the rights of the neighbor. He says that I fear that he would again say that the neighbor can inherit from you. He was talking so much about the rights of the neighbor. Right? Yeah. So this is what the Prophet, you know, that is Islam. You know, so we need to I just want to, make sure that this point is clear, that the two different things we're talking about altogether. Here we talk about deen, and we talk about the social level, how you deal with people and stuff like that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then, in this way now, he chided Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam on that. You should not be asking something like this. That is a question that the Jahileen would ask. So this way also, I advise you, least you become like that. Which means he was not the Jahili. He was not the Jahil, he was not the ignorant one. Because he was a prophet, a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he was not, but Allah is showing that this kind of question and this kind of is part of Jahiliyyah. Right? When you put your familial ties up on the level of your faith. Your faith is one thing and familial ties something different altogether. Right? Your brothers and sisters, your mother, your father, so they might not be Muslims. They might be believers, so you don't follow with them in their way. Right? That's why Allah says concerning your own parents. Right? But in jahadaka and tushika bima laysa laka bihi fala tuti'huma. Right? If they seek to make you associate partners with Allah for which you have no knowledge, stop do things of which you have no knowledge, then don't obey them. La tuti'huma. Don't follow them. But Allah says, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفٍ. But be good to them in the dunya. Right? وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيا مَعْرُوفًا. Right? And and another ayah Allah says, وَقُولَ لَهُمْ قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Speak to them in a nice way. So the parents, you have to be still to be nice and good and respectful and everything, even if they don't believe in Allah. Right? Because of who they are. They are parents still. Alright? Your brothers, your sisters, so you stick up by being nice and kind to them, who knows? You understand? So that is important that we understand. But you do not give preference there over when it comes to deen, because they're on a different road to you. You're going this way, they're going this way. It's two different roads. And this is basically you have to understand that our walaya is to Allah and His Messenger and the believers. And so Nuh alayhi salam come to that realization, and after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrected him on that, and he says, Rabbi inni a'udhu bika an as'alaka ma laysa li bihi ilm. He says, oh my Lord, I seek refuge with you. You hear what he said? I seek refuge with you from asking you that for which I have no knowledge. I seek refuge. Oh Allah, protect me from myself. Oh Allah, protect me from myself. And actually, the Prophet used to make a dua like that. You seek refuge with Allah from Allah. You protect me from myself. So, seeking, protection, like he says, وَلَا تَكَلِّ إِلَى نَفْسِي طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. And do not leave me to my own devices, even for the blinking of an eye. لا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. Don't leave me to my own devices, even for the twinkling of an eye. That is the Prophet, what is doing the Prophet. So here, Nuh alayhi salam is making a similar dua. Oh Allah, forgive me. Right? فَإِلَمْ تَغْفِرْ لِي وَتَرْحَمْنِي أَكُنْ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. For unless you forgive me and show me mercy, I indeed will be among those who are losers. So Nuh alayhi salam corrected himself. This is why on Qiyamah, Nuh alayhi salam was when the people come to Nuh alayhi salam, they go to Noah. Right? Noah was the first prophet. After come from Adam, they gone to Noah. Right? They got to Adam first. Adam was, Adam, you are father. You are our forefather. Allah made you with this hands, please intercede on our behalf. Adam said, not me. I afraid to go before Allah on this day because I disobeyed him. He said, go and ask Noah. Noah alayhi salam, no, you're the first prophet and messenger of Allah. Please could you intercede on behalf? No, I said, no, me. I did something, I was forward and asking Allah, khalas, go ask. And he sent him down the line till he passed and he passed until he get the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All right. So this is one principle we understand, that when it comes to that, we know from this, and we can conclude this particular point, that on this we can get the principle that if it's something that is haram, you don't make dua for it. If it's something that's haram, you don't make dua for it. It is not right to make dua for it. And if someone is definitely off, you don't go make dua for them. Right? You seek refuge with Allah from them. Right? But this is the case that that's why Ibrahim, Allah says, فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ, once it became clear, تَبَرَّأَ مِنْ, then he sought refuge. That's like, me, be free from you. All right? So that is important principle on that. And the second point is that the Iman is the connecting the basis in which you function, and not blood or anything else. You had a...
No, I'm good.
You're good? And
You answered it in the next sentence.
Yeah.
I would like to add something that will satisfy all your concern and the question that I read in your faces that you were going to answer, you were going to ask, is Nuh alayhi salam, his example is like our examples of as fathers, right? You have a son, we all have children. How many of us that we have children and our children's that they are not obedient to the point of satisfy you as a righteous person, as a submissive Muslim? Some of the kids, they don't pray. Do you kick them out of the house? They are still living with you, correct?
Yes.
Can you call them kafir? No, you can't. But yet their conduct makes them very close to the path of the disbeliever. But you are not sure, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one that He knows what we bring in public and what we keep in secret or privacy. So here is Nuh alayhi salam as a father and as a messenger or as a prophet of Allah. His son was still living in his house, but he's not listening to him, he's not following him. So Nuh, he was under the hope and the plea to Allah that when the day will come, or when his son grew up, he will be mature enough, he will follow the right path. But the order of Allah came in to define or to draw the line between the disbeliever and the believer by ordering Nuh alayhi salam to build up the ship. Meanwhile, Nuh's son was still living with him. When the flood came in, Nuh's son, he was isolated, because one thing the Sheikh have mentioned, that Nuh, he didn't know if his son, he was a hypocrite or he was what. So I agree with the notion that he was a hypocrite. Is the hypocrite is a kafir? I would say yes, because in the verse of Al-Hashr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ نَافَقُوا, don't you see that those, the hypocrites, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ نَافَقُوا يَقُولُونَ لِإِخْوَانِهِمْ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. So the hypocrites, they have spoken to their brothers, the disbeliever. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as in the same perspective that He said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً, that the believers are all brothers. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created or He established a brotherhood between the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, and the disbeliever. أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ نَافَقُوا يَقُولُونَ لِإِخْوَانِهِمْ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. So here the munafiq become a brother of the kafir. So here the son of Nuh alayhi salam, right, he declined to go with his father, but he was in the state of confusion because he's a munafiq. Where should I go? But he leaned toward the evilness, which is the kafir side. So by the time he was reaching out to them, he realized that they were drowning. So Noah, based on the fact that he's a father, he told him, son, don't you see where we are? Come to us, come to safety. He said that I will go to a higher level or a higher top of the mountain. But yet he drowned. So this is the notion, and the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promised Noah that him and his family. But our argument here is his family. So what happened to the statement of Allah? Noah, he didn't know that his son he's a hypocrite. Even if he know, he's still under the hope that his son, he will come back to him. It's the same hope that any one of us, that he have a son, he doesn't practice the deen to the extent, we are hoping one day he will come back. But we don't neglect to keep him as a son. So this is exactly very much the situation. In the verse of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, فَمَنْ تَبِعَانِي فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. Those that they follow me, that they are from me. So they become like, from me, it's like my family. But those that they follow Ibrahim alayhi salam, some of them, they were not his family. But once you become a believer and you follow that straight path, those that they follow the straight path, they become your family. And that will take us back into the statement of Allah, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. هذا والله أعلم.
اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن.
Opposing Islam, but their behavior is as if they were, well, not as if they were, but it's not conforming to Islam, right? Then you don't reject them, right?
You can reject them because by nature you are a father. They are part of you. So you don't kick them out. The only way that you're going to kick them out, if they announce Islam clearly and they start to bring the liquor, bring the women's, bring the drugs, they involve in extreme action that they announce Islam and they announce Allah. At that point you have to draw the line because they create some kind of fitna for you and for the rest of the children or even for their mother. So you have to draw the line, whether this or that.
Yeah, I want to add on to that, and this is what a lot of us is doing too. Noah recognized that was his biological son, but he didn't realize that wasn't his spiritual son. And this is what we do as fathers. We have to recognize the difference. The biological, yes, it is your biological child, but it's your spiritual child. Look at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look who they fought. They fought their brothers and their sisters. I mean, brothers and fathers. Okay, so this Noah, that was a good example. How Noah felt the sincerity for his son. And I think one of the ayat Allah said, your wives and your children.
Fitna.
Yeah, so let us do as much as we can that our children, let's be very conscious of what goes into their subconscious mind. Because what goes into their subconscious mind can become an enemy to us. We allowing our children to watch TV, cell phones, and then they're being programmed by the enemy. And let's realize that we at war with the shaitan, so be very conscious what goes into our children's subconscious mind.
Thank you.
I just need clarification on when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi wa salam. Did he collect clay from all the different places in the earth?
There's one narration says that,
and different color clays?
Yeah.
That's what one narration says, that Jibreel, he collected from all the different areas, different types.
Alaikum assalam.
Earth for that. Yes.
It was
The shade came into play, right? Shade, the color.
So that's how color came into play.
And some was rocky, and some was stony, and some was soft.
Here is the story as much as I read it, and I think this is the authentic one. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after the jinn, after the Al-Harith, which is the shaitan today, right? He was one of the most worshipper in his time, and his name Al-Harith, it means the warrior, and he was the warrior and the one who takes care of the affair, the heaven, the first heaven and earth. Any affair that it goes above and on earth, it was under his responsibility. Some of the believers, they asked a question to Ibn Abbas. He was from the angels. He said, لم يكن من الملائكة بطرفة عين. He was never among the staff of the angel, but he was from the jinn. But because of his submissiveness to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him that reward or that benefit. So when the jinn, which is the tribe, the khala'if, the creation of where the Harith come from, they were living on earth exactly like us. And that's what we call the spirits. So they killed unjustly, they shed blood, they committed adultery, they did everything exactly mankind is doing right now. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from above, He gave a verdict is, He ordered Al-Harith to establish or to form an army from the angels and to go to destroy. Destruction, it doesn't mean, to diminish, to finish the creation, but to destroy it. So he came in with the angels and they destroyed the tribes of the jinn on earth. Illa al-qalil, except a little bit that they survive. Like the bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, only a little bit they survive and then they build up their population again. So that's the same thing with the jinn, except a little bit. They hid underground, under the ocean, in the rivers, in the valleys and stuff like that. The problem that have taken place is that the shaitan, when he was ascending back up, to heaven with the angels, and he wasn't cursed at the time, right? He had given a statement based out of ignorance. And that statement, he said, Wallahi innama fa'alnahu al-yawma amal la yaqdir alayhi illa Allah. That what we have done today is something that no one can do except Allah. But that statement, it's very casual if you give it with submissiveness to Allah, with a devotion to Allah. You acknowledge that Allah is above you, all right? Allah is your creator, He's your Lord. But here in that notion of that creature at the time, he said it, that he's equating himself to Allah. Where the angels also, they have a misunderstanding about the nature of Allah, all right? They think that Allah rely on them for the handling of His domain, all right? The whole entire creation of His universe, glory be to Him. So when they have gone upstairs, keep in mind that angels were created out of light. The shaitan was created out of a smokeless fire, right? Marriage in the nar. So they have given the okay to Allah that we have accomplished the mission. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. I will make somebody else to represent me on earth. So they tell him, سبحانك أتخلق فيها أو أتجعل فيها من يسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح لحمدك ونقدس لك. Are you going to create another creation on earth that you will end up shedding blood and disobey you? And if it's for the worshipping, our worshipping is more than enough, more than sufficient for you. The worshipping of the angels is not like us. Every breath that they take is a worshipping, is a salah. So can you imagine? So they tell him, Subhanak. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told them, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. So the angels, they were taken, they figure or they sense that they have done something wrong, or there is something with the misunderstanding. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's conclusion to that situation or that scene is that He said, Inni ja'alun fil ardi khalifa. Who is that khalifa? Who is going to represent Allah? It's something made out of shameful material. And it was mentioned in the Quran. It was mentioned in the Quran twice. Ma'un mahin, which is shameful water, all right, where the baby is made out of some waters being produced by mankind, all right, And if that water also, it shows stain around your thawb or your trouser or your pants that you are wearing, you'll be ashamed of it because people, they think that you urinated on yourself. That's why it mentioned in the Quran, ma'un mahin, that's where you were created from, by the will of Allah. And also shameful material because Adam was created out of mud. So if you touch mud or soil, you are going to be ashamed of your hand. You have to wash your hand, you have to cleanse yourself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ordered Jibreel alayhi salam to ascend to earth to bring a piece of the soil. To bring a piece of the soil. All right? In Al-Isra wal Mi'raj, Al-Ard, the earth, all right, it was referred to as an old woman. All right? Alayha min al-hili, that it was very purified and all that, but it was out age already, and the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came in to take sample of the soil as Allah instructed him, the earth is a creature. Every creation or every creature have a language they speak. So the earth had spoken to Jibreel alayhi salam, and she told him, what do you want? He told her that I'm coming to take a piece of your soil. She told him, إِنِّي أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْكَ أَن تُنْقِصَنِي. I am in the sake of Allah from you and from your act that you are to make me less or shorter from the way that I was created. Jibreel alayhi salam, he went back to Allah. Allah have looked at him and he told him, Allah, she said that she is in your sake, and dare me. If somebody said I am in the sake of Allah, I cannot really go against that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told him like to sit down, be seated or just step aside. He asked Mikael alayhi salam, the same episode, the same scenario had happened, the same statement. He asked Israfil, and then he sent the Azrael, the angel of death. The angel of death, when he went down, he tried to seek a piece of the earth. The earth, she told him the same statement, and he replied to her and he said, and I am in the sake of Allah that I will go back to him as a disobedient. That I am in the sake of my Lord to go back to him as a disobedient. So he started to maneuver with the earth, all right, to go in that direction before she protected herself, and he took a piece. So all the pieces that he took it, I'm not going to say in a hurry, but for the obedience of Allah to the best of his ability. So pieces, they became like sandy, yellow, gray, all this is sand, brown, white sand, mud, by all the colors, and he gave it to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created the jinn and the angels based on the word of command, be, it will be. That's it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have honored mankind that He shaped all that shameful water or shameful material by His hand. The breath that we have, all right, is from the breath of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after He shaped Adam and He created him and He left him for a reason, and the shaitan came, did what he did, and when he asked the people of Israel, they asked Moses alayhi salam, Allah went to sleep on the Sabbath. Moses alayhi salam, he asked Allah, Rabbi, atanam, do you go to sleep? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, Musa, if you have in your hand a plate full of water, and a glance of sleep have taken you, what will happen? He said that water will fall down. He said, if it takes me a sinatun min al-nawm, a glance of sleep, that the sky will fall down on earth, where there is no pillars or beams that they are supporting that. So this is the story exactly of the creation of Adam and what happened with the angels and whose rule and what's rule and what did what, and هذا والله أعلم.
Inshallah. Oh, okay. All right.
When you were speaking about the earth, you kept saying she.
She.
Was that for a reason?
I'm sorry?
Was that for a reason?
Yeah, because the Prophet ﷺ in Al-Isra wal Mi'raj, he referred to the earth, and the earth is the dunya. He referred to it as imra'atun ajuz alayha min al-hilm, that she's an older woman, she is purified, and this is the temptation of earth or the temptation of life.
Too far.
So the phrase Mother Nature comes from that.
You can say that.
Inshallah, alhamdulillah. session, inshallah, we can close out on it. سبحانك وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت.
Assalamu alaikum.